You're listening to the Clean Comedy Podcast with James Creviston and Luke LaCoy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Clean Comedy Podcast. It's James, and today I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Luke LaCoy.
I'm going to go by Luke LaCrunk today.
Luke LaCrunk. Oh, yes. We have an amazing guest, actually, a great guest who I've actually, what's funny is he and I have tried to come do podcast stuff together. One time we were at Flappers and he was outside and I talked to him about one of my favorite jokes of his. And it's a nursery rhyme rap joke. It was like one of his first jokes that I ever heard him do and stuff. And so it was just one of those things. He does like Jimmy Crack Corn and like a bunch of different kind of like kid songs. He does a rap, and I quoted it back to him, and then he goes, "How do you know that?" And I'm like, "Oh, because I have all your albums. Like I listen to all your stuff." And so at first I think I scared him, and then we talked about podcast, and he talked about his podcast, and so so now we finally got him on, and I think that was like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now, where we had that conversation. And then due to the pandemic and everything shutting down, we really just kind of crossed paths. And finally, he was on Augustino Zoida's podcast, and then Augustino got me in touch with him. And actually, this is how it happened. I went on his live stream on YouTube and asked him if he would be on the podcast in the middle of a YouTube live stream. There's probably my notes in there, like probably if you go back, I don't know if the chat shows up, but I'm like, "Hey, Darren, come on the podcast." And he's like, "Just email me." So that's how we got him. So please welcome the very funny, the very talented Mr. Darren Carter, the party starter.
Yay! Thank you. That's awesome, man. That's a good lesson to your viewers and listeners is perseverance. Just persevere, but don't be pushy. Don't be, because you know what I mean. There's the people that they are just wait. Like today, I went on Instagram and somebody had liked 45 of my pictures. I was like, well, I got all these notifications. I must have a meme that's blowing up. And then it was all from one person. I'm sure it was a spam account, but that was almost like, whoa, too much. And then, So I clicked on the picture and it was a woman in a bikini and she'd only followed one person. And I'm like, this is probably not legit,
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's interesting. You know what? That's what you just said is, I read this article once. It said how to, connect with people. It said like one or two little bits of information of familiarity, they're cool with it. But if it starts getting into 4 and more, it gets creepy to where it's like, "Hey, I heard you're from Chicago. That's great. I used to, oh wow, the whole, there might be a connection." And then one more thing, but then if you start going and I know your high school, I used to sit in geography, and it's like, whoa, dude, yeah.
James.
I know. but yeah, well, that's the thing is I told you after you came off a stage one time that I was like, "Hey, I love your stuff," because I just watched you do it, and then I was like, I wish you would do that rap bit again where you did the children's nursery rhyme rap.
Thank you.
And you're like, how do you know that?
Yeah, right. Because you know why I said that? Probably because it was on my first album. So I've had 4. Luckily, I've had 4 albums, and the first one was called Shady Side, and that was. Back before I shaved my head, I talked about having red hair, and that was back when gangster rap was kind of the thing. And I was like, "Hey, what would it be like if there was redheaded gangster rappers?" And I would be like, "Our gang sign would be this: the sun's bright, shady side, we walk on the shady side of the street. We're from the shady side." And then I think the bit that you're talking about, if it's the one I'm remembering, it's where they were doing children's song melodies, and then they really did do this. There was some song, it goes, "Does your neck?" It was about talking about gold chain. It goes, "Does your chain hang low? Does it wiggle?" Something about your chain. "Does your chain hang low?" Yeah. And I remember that's kind of when I stopped listening to hip hop. I was like, you know what? I don't really wear chains anymore. I've sort of grown up now. I kind of, we had a kid on the way. I was like, I'm more into music that talks about backyards and just stuff that I can relate to now in my life, raking the leaves or whatever,
Is there someone that sings about raking leaves?
I don't know, but I just break loose and as a family unit. It was my wife and my son, and he's 13, and we just rake like all together. Like it was great because if you just do it by yourself, you feel like it's whatever, And if there's no way I can let my wife and son rake leaves, and I can't, honey, I was inside doing TikTok videos. Like that ain't gonna happen. So right. I was like, hey, I'll help you. And so we rake leaves for a good, like, I want to say like it was probably a 2 to 3 hour project, and it was amazing, man. Like you feel like you're getting a good workout, and you're there's something reminding me of because we've been watching like Cobra Kai and karate and all that, and it reminded me of just meditation. When you leave the little lines, like the rake marks in the dirt, and you look at the end of it, you look back and you're like, like we did that. It was a cool experience.
Yeah, that's why I like mowing the lawn, because it's like, when you vacuum, you like leave the different lines, like depending on how you go. When you mow the lawn, it does that same kind of thing. So I get that. For anyone who doesn't know you, can you kind of give them a brief backstory of how you got started in comedy, kind of where you're from, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm born and raised in Fresno, California. And, I used to be on the, speaking of hip hop and rap, I was on the speech and debate team, and I used to rap even before that, like in 9th grade, 10th grade, I started kind of like writing these funny little raps, and then I got on the speech and debate team, and then that transferred over to like these humorous speeches, and then I discovered stand-up comedy, which is very similar to the humorous speeches, and I got into comedy, and I excuse me, right after high school, I went to Fresno City College, and was working at a radio station and doing comedy during the day. And back then, there weren't that many comedians. So I was pretty good with my voices and stuff. Like I could, I was very entertaining. So within like 3 months, I got to open for the New Kids on the Block.
Wow. When
they came through Fresno, it was just like a one show, but it was great because, it was a great experience for me. Looking back, I bombed, didn't do well because the audience was like 9 and 10-year-old girls, and that was on the older side. I felt like they were mostly, they're like, we want the new kids, and I was up there rapping. Well, my name is Bull Winkle. I'm a moose. Give me the mic, I cut loose. When I'm Kermit the Frog and I'm carpeting, it was cute. This is like 1988, 89. It was like, I'd be like, well, yeah. Well, blows me down. They could be hipper, shiver me timbers. I'm a Chippendale stripper. It was really silly. It was like voices, and I got the gig, and then I remember they had auditions to work at the time it was called Marriott's Great America, and it was in San Jose, California, Santa Clara, up in the Bay Area, and they came to Fresno, and they had these auditions, and I auditioned, and I got the part. They were like, we're gonna try this thing out, where we're gonna have 5 roaming entertainers. We're gonna have a stilt walker, a fire breather, a juggler, and we want to have like one of them was like, we want to have a comedian. And this is way before cell phones, so people were just in line waiting for the roller coaster, and they were like, hey, you could entertain them, because back then, now everybody would just look at their phone, but back then they didn't want people to be bored. They wanted always to be action. So I did stand-up comedy, which was very difficult to do. The roller coaster line was hard because even though I was doing the all that crazy stuff, there's no microphone, no speakers. It was just me, like, hey, everybody, and just it was bad. But it got me out of Fresno and into the Bay Area. And after I did that, and I toured a little bit. Then I moved to Southern California, and then I became a paid regular at the Comedy Store and the Laugh Factory, and I booked a Miller Beer commercial and a movie all within, like, I want to say about a year. So things were cooking. I got in the Screen Actors Guild and started doing the clubs and getting out there. Then I one of the big credits I got was the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Jay Leno's Tonight Show, and and it just things kind of just they escalate, and then they plateau for a while, and there's hills and valleys and ups and downs. And in that meantime, I'm so glad that I recorded those 4 albums. And that's that I started, I did a podcast back in the day with a partner. We did 213 episodes, and then
wow,
it's I don't know about how it is with you guys. Maybe you guys, I don't know how many episodes have you guys done?
We're at 200 and something. What are we at, Luke?
222 would be this one, I think.
I think it's 222. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So I found with that partner, he was from radio. So for me, let's say we had a great week, you know, and I'd be like, dude, look, we got 5,000 downloads. This is great. Like, there's people from Texas, and you know, like I'd go on the road, and I go, 12 people came, like extra people came to the show. Like this lady was a listener, and she brought her 11 family. I'm like, this is great. Like, we're growing. Things are happening. This is back in like 2011, 2012, but he came from radio, so to him, 5,000 downloads was like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, in his mind, he was thinking every time I get on the mic, you know, like in LA, like a million people listen to me. So, and he wasn't really a touring comedian. So it was, you know, we separated, we parted ways because I kept saying like, do the podcast. And he was like, you know, and I don't know, the last I heard, maybe he got a radio job. I don't know, but I ended up starting my own podcast about, gosh, I'm on like episode 156 or something, or 57. So about almost 3 years ago. And for me personally, I found it's, if I can do them anytime I want. Like, I don't have to rely on a team of people or anybody. I can just, it's great. It's like, I want to do 3 a week, I'll do it. I want to do 1 a week, I'll do it. If I want to do it and have them on YouTube, I'll do it. It's called the Pocket Party Podcast.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Thank you. And you know what I like, and I like the name of your show, because I think that there's a niche for this type of entertainment, because, you know, and I've got nothing against comics that want to go the other way, but, you know, I figure, you know, it's not really, if you're not going to be dirty and do it the best, then, and I just don't, I don't even go there. I'm like, you know what, it's not me, and I don't want to, you know, I'm myself, and, you know, I do, you know, I talk about my son. I have, you know, I usually tell the guests like, hey, if you want to, if something slips out, that's fine, but I'm not really, I don't push it, you know, and I really don't use foul language myself. So I don't know. I just think that there needs to be, at least what I like to do is and I know this sounds corny, but with my comedy, I have that flashlight where I'm, and I break out the flashlight. I like to shine light on the world. And even with the podcast, I'm like, you know, as you guys probably, you know, you've done more episodes than me at this point, like, you get those messages where people are like, you know, hey, I was going through a hard time, or, you know, relationship problems, whatever. And it's, I think podcasting is something that it's, you know, it's definitely like those, you know, it's that friend that's there for you, you know, at any moment in time, they can go to your catalog, hit play, and, you know, be entertained.
Exactly. No, that's the thing. And that's what I love about your stand-up, is that you bring such positivity to such there. I mean, rap music is kind of one of those things that, like, especially can be polarizing for people, but you make so much fun of it, and you make fun of that, and your light shines through. Like, you really are Darren Carter, the party starter. Like, when you go, people change. I've been in a room in Flappers where a comedian came on before you, and the room was like, it's okay. And then you came on and you start doing your thing, and it's like the whole room just got hit with like happy energy, because there's people like, dude, and you're doing it, and you're signing the flashlight, and what, I'm like, this is amazing. How do you? And it's great. But then the only bad part about this is, and I've seen people follow you after you've done that, and like the room has never recovered, because they're like, we want to party. Like, we don't want to hear your jokes anymore. We want to hang out with Darren and party and hear his music, you know?
Yeah. You know, it's, I think people oftentimes will have a pretty, like, they'll do great, follow me. And the only time that I notice that it could go south for them is if they try to be mean or make fun of me, you know, like in a mean way, like comes across mean, and the crowd's like, oh man, like, you know, where they're like, I've seen that happen a few times, but you know.
It sucks. It's like, I don't know why you have to bag on the comedian before you. Like, just do your stuff, man. Be you, you know?
Yeah. With comedy, you know, it's interesting. Like, you know, I mean, especially during this pandemic, it's like, you know, I found that I'm writing a different style of comedy, I guess, for me, and that's not really different, but like, because I was already doing like family stuff, but like, before, you know, you're in public and you'd see something funny and like a funny thing, and then you might like interpret, you know, and you bring it into your comedy. And now I'm like, you know, my comedy is literally like I said, buying a new wheelbarrow wheel, or, you know, like raking the leaves, like, you know, we have these, cats, because, right now I'm staying, I don't know if you can see my mug, but we're staying on we're up at the farm. So we live in Burbank, but then we're staying on the farm near Fresno, my hometown. And, so we have a couple cats here, and the cats have like a music and country theme. Their names. One cat is named Freddie Meowkery, like meow, Freddie Meowkery. The cat is Kitty Pesney, and then yes, as we were raking the leaves, that remind me of like Cobra Kai and Mr. Miyagi and the Karate Kid. Like with I told my son, I go, see, this is all training us for like martial arts, like the way we're raking, and and then he goes, I know, Dad. He goes, hey, and this is cool. He goes, Dad, he just said this, and I go, that's a funny joke. He goes, if we get another cat, can we call the cat Mr. Meowgie?
I like it. I hope you get another cat now.
I know, right? Mr. Meowgie.
Luke, did you have a question?
I want to say I enjoyed your podcast. I checked it out, and Tim Gaither is one of my favorite comics. Yeah. And so when I saw his name, I got excited.
Thank you. Yeah, Tim Gaither. I've known him for a long time. I also recently had on Fraser Smith. I've had him on about 8 or 9 times. He's a big time radio DJ in LA, and he's a regular on Sunday nights on KLOS 95.5. He's great. He's just got a million jokes, and sometimes he'll be like, hey, I'm working on some stuff. Do you have any tags? And we'll write jokes together. Then I'll be like, hey, want to do the podcast? And like, what was his he's got like a running theme where he goes, hey, I'm sweating like and he just names off a whole bunch. Hey, boy, I'm sweating like so and so up here. And the newest one, he goes, what is it? He goes, I'm sweating like Gavin Newsom watching the movie Total Recall. Like
that's great.
Yeah. So he writes a million jokes, man. He's just like he's great. But yeah, thanks for checking out the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah.
What's your process like? And then also, you got passed at the store when Mitzi was still around, correct?
Yeah, Mitzi saw past me.
That's so cool.
It was one of those, it was great, man. It was one of those things where I don't remember the exact time increments, but I want to say, excuse me, she saw me do 3 minutes, and then the next time they see you do, I want to say like 6 minutes, and then it was like 9 minutes, and then they want to something like that. But I remember I was going 3 minutes, 6 minutes, 9 minutes, and then I think after that you get passed. But what happened was, they go, nah, sorry, she wants to see you do 3 minutes again. So it's like, what? I got to start all over again. And they were like, yeah, it's like chutes and ladders. So I was like, dang it. So the next time, I think I went from 3 minutes to, I don't remember exactly, but I remember up to like 10 minutes. And then she told me I could start calling in for spots, and I became a paid regular. And then,
so cool.
And then it, like I said, it was very cool. And I didn't realize, like, because at that time I was probably like 25, 26. Like, I just thought everything was going along like how it was supposed to, like, thank God, like you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, you get a little bit better, you open, then you get a little bit better, then you get to be a feature, then you get to be a headliner, and then you maybe book a commercial, then maybe you get to be, I just thought that's how it was working. And I didn't realize, like, there's people that for whatever reason just never got that opportunity, never got passed. And then it's, so thank God I had that,
Yeah. And now it's almost impossible to get past the Comedy Store. Like, to get on the open mic, there's like 300 comedians waiting there on Monday night. They pick like 15, I think, or something like that, or a dozen. And then, and then you go, and then when you see the list and your name's not on there, you're like, all right, I got to go find another place. So you go some other place and try to get on. It's another 200. Those other 200 and whatever comedians that didn't get on are now going to that place. And it's LA's tough, man.
It's tough. And it's like, you're right. It is tough. And then and then even, now you got like, maybe there's a person who's a really good comedian, but then the club owners go, well, I can also book this other person who's a YouTube star or whatever.
Yeah.
And then sell tickets. And, I know, I remember there was a comedian that I was up in Canada, and this guy was selling out like show after show. They were adding shows. And I was there the week after, and the morning radio guys, they asked the club managers, hey, how was he? Because he was more like a celebrity who became a comedian.
Right.
And the guy goes, listen, he goes, he sucks. He's terrible. He goes, I'd have him back in a heartbeat, because he goes, he sold out, and he stayed till 3 a.m. and just signed every autograph of everybody that wanted to meet him. And so, so if there's any celebrities watching and you want to try comedy, just sell out, just stick around till 3 a.m. and they'll have you back.
And what is your process for writing a joke? I know that everyone has a different process, but I'd like to hear yours. Just kind of hear how you do it.
There's a couple ways. Well, the main big way, which I found, especially now, is I do write a lot on stage. Like, so when I'm performing, I'm already, the synapses are firing off and you're in a moment of something and it's like, boom, it'll just come out. I'll just tag it. And then I'm like, oh, that's a whole new direction, so I do write a lot on stage, and then I either film it or I'll audio record it, go back and listen and take away parts or add parts. Or there might be a thing, like I might be on stage going, I don't know, I love apples, you know what I mean? Like apples, and I'm eating an apple and it's driving my wife up the wall. She's like, can you eat that apple somewhere else? And I'm like, whatever, it really happened. She's like, go outside. Oh, now you want me to wake up the neighbors? This whole thing about Adam and Eve, and maybe that's what it was, because she's like, Adam, that apple's so loud, will you stop it with the crunching? And but so then the next day I'll go back and I might think like, what would be funny? Like, what kind of apples are there? Like, there's Fuji, there's Gala, there's Honeycrisp. Like, I'll kind of tighten it up and maybe color it. That's the best way to do it. Because when I haven't done that, I'll just be in the moment and maybe get my facts wrong, or I'll just be more generic. I'll be like, like a 60s guitar player. And then I realize, like, oh, I should have just said Jimi Hendrix or whatever, like Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock. It paints a better picture. So I say it, go back and listen and say, can I make it a little bit more detailed? Can I do that? And also, if I listen and I'm like, oh, I didn't need to curse there, I probably should just take that out, or find another way to say it.
So you don't sit down.
That's one of the ways I write.
Do you sit down and never write anything? Do you actually sit down and write out bits or anything like that?
I used to early in the days. Now I tend to, if I'm talking on the phone with somebody and I'm telling them some funny story or something, or they're like, there's something there, then I'll write down. That's what I'll do. Then I'll write down like the gist of it, like da 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 da, like the thing about the raking and all that stuff. Like I'll put like, I'll write down like Mr. the cat, Mr. Meowgie, or I'll put, which is great because I don't have any cat material. I never really even had a cat. So hey, that's kind of cool, because if there's cat people out in the audience, they might be like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's, it was funny because, anyways, I was just gonna go off on a rant, but that's what I'm saying. And sometimes, I might be going into such a, I don't even know if this stuff is going to work, but it's, like the, raking and, I bought a wheelbarrow wheel over the summer, but it wasn't to use the wheelbarrow. It was strictly for exercise purposes. Like I wanted to put my 12-year-old son in it and like just push him around the farm, because I know it's good for your deltoids and but it sounded weird when I went to the hardware store and the guy was like, well, what are you using the wheelbarrow for? And I didn't want to be like, hey kid, hop in, because I was like, I didn't know that we were together. And here's what he said. He goes, how much will the weight be, like that you're being, that you're pushing around? And I didn't want to be like, hey kid, how much do you weigh? You know what I mean? Just kind of weird. So I bought the wheelbarrow. I don't even know if this stuff's funny, but I wrote it down. I was like, there's one thing that was funny on the farm that's worked a couple times, and a couple times it hasn't. So I don't know. I don't know if it's funny or if I play a more rural area, but here's something I observed, because especially in the summer months, like we tell time way different on the farm, because you're outside all day. It's amazing. It's like you're biking, you're just outside, you're playing volleyball, whatever you can do outside. And they said that especially in Central California, the way that we tell time here is like, you wake up, it's like, oh, not that hot yet, and then it's like hot, too hot. Oh, not as hot, and then mosquitoes. Yeah.
I love that. That's actually good. And I can understand that working some places, not working some places, because like if you said mosquitoes in some cities, they'd have no idea what you're talking about. Like, we don't have mosquitoes, like, so that's not a thing. But yeah, I can see why that works some places and some doesn't. I like it though.
I'll probably, or maybe I said like bugs, or I forget what exactly I wrote, like bugs or something, and then everyone laughed, and I went like, I'm itchy or something. I remember You know what I mean? There's some places, because it's true. That's how it really is. It's like it's bearable, and then it's just way too hot, and it's not as hot. And then the next thing you know, it's just like there's like all these gnats flying around and mosquitoes, and So I said that, and then I performed near Kansas, and they thought that was hilarious because probably they could relate to the whole, And I think I did it in Hollywood, and it didn't do as well, probably because there's not the mosquito thing. Maybe they might go
like, what's a bug? What is a bug?
Yeah, they're like, before I moved to LA, I got bugs. That's so, last year or whatever.
Yeah. That's funny because I worked for one summer in Laughlin, Nevada. I don't know if you know where Laughlin is, but it's like on the river across from Arizona. And that's exactly how we knew it was end of the day. So when you got up in the morning, it would be a little warm, and then get warmer and hotter and hotter. And then all of a sudden, like as it started to get cooler in the day, you would just get swarmed by gnats coming off the river. And then everyone's like, all right, it's time to go now. This is quitting time. That's like how we knew. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I hated that summer working there. It was,
I got to perform in Laughlin one year. It was great. I did the bike week. We did bike week there.
Oh, wow.
And I did 3 sold out shows, and it was it was a weird hotel. Do you remember this one? Was it called Ramada Express? Is that one of the hotels on the Strip?
I don't know. I don't know all of them anymore. I used to know them. I was like 16 when I did that job, by the way.
Oh, this is the Ramada Express. Sounds like a little rinky dink, but it was like a regular, like big casino with ballrooms, and it was like the MGM or something. But but I remember it was just amazing to do the shows, and then like to see all the bikers and they were like just burning rubber and the different. It was pretty amazing, and I was, it's fun. Yeah, it was great. It was just awesome to do that. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Darren, I know that you have to go. We don't want to keep you on here for too long, but where could people go ahead?
I don't have to go as before. We were pressed for time, but now I can stay a little longer. If
oh, good. Yeah, no, good. Okay, whatever. Yeah. I just didn't want to hold you up.
No, I'm good.
Cool. So one of my favorite things about you is the noises that you like make with your mouth, and then the voice stuff. How did you perfect that? Because I've always wondered, like, I know some people could do like Schwarzenegger or whatever. Like those are common things that a lot of people could do. And when I was a kid, I don't know if this was the same for you, but when I was a kid, I would watch a movie, think a voice was funny, and then I would practice it in the mirror over and over again until I like kind of got it down. But you nail them every single time, and I have to warm up to do any voices. Like I have to like kind of do the line before I could start talking and saying other things. But you could flow from voice to voice. How do you do that?
I guess it's just, ever since I was a kid, I just would do it naturally. As I was telling a story, I might be like, and then I was running, and then, or something, or just like, I'm doing it all the time. My wife sometimes like, stop doing it. I'm like, I didn't even know I was doing it. when I'm thinking of something, I may be like, or whatever, then, or like the motorcycle was the one that I don't know if it'll work well here, but when I do the, and I act like I'm really whatever, but I mean, that was, I think one thing that I found is I have to pepper it in and do it in small doses to where it's amazing, to where people are like, wow, like as I'm telling a story,
Okay.
Because earlier on, I would do it too long, and it was annoying. Like I remember to older people, I remember one time specifically I was in Ventura, they were too drunk, they were talking, so it's kind of making me mad, which don't get mad on stage. It's a good tip, don't get mad on stage. And so I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna do material, I'm just gonna beatbox. So I'd be like, and then the people who liked it were like, yeah. But the people who didn't like it, they were like, they just hated it, and I remember as I was leaving, there was an older couple. They were like, that last guy was just too loud, And I thought they were right. They were actually right. So I learned to like, how to do just the right amount of time stuff, not do it too much, Like it's great though. Like when I talk about playing hide and seek, I talk about hide and seek with my son, and I said after 40, your bones will start to pop and crack for like no reason. And so I do the thing where I go, he's like, ready or not, here I come. And I'm tiptoeing around, and your knees are going. And he's like, where are you? I hear you, but I don't see you. I go, then you get this urge to clear your throat. He's like, Dad, are you making popcorn? You know, yeah, that's another one that I can't really, I don't even know how to show, I don't even know how I do it, that noise, but people are like, how do you do it? I go, well, you're just going, I don't know how to, it's with your tongue, and I don't know.
That's amazing.
That's when I try to, you know, like I said, I don't think I'm, because there's people that can do these sound effects way better than me, and there's people that can beatbox way better than me. But I think if you combine it all, at least on the comedian scale, it adds a more entertaining to my stories, at least. You know?
No, I agree, and that's how I first came across you. Is I think I heard one of your bits somewhere, and you were doing the beatbox thing, and I was like, a comedian's putting beatbox like inside, like I was like, oh, you must have like a sound effects kit or something. But then I like listened to the album, and you were doing it with like different things, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's just doing it by himself. And it reminded me of the guy from the Police Academy movies, right? Who could do all the noises. Michael Winslow, yeah. And he could do all those things. And I was like, this is amazing. And then I saw you do it live, and I was like, wow. Like I was literally blown away. I was like, and you did jokes with it. I was like, how is he doing this? First of all, my mouth would be dry. I would be like, oh, I'm tired, you know. But you did it for like, I think like you did like a 25-minute set or something like that. When I saw, I was like, I would die. I would be dead after this.
A mistake that because I have seen a few other comedians beatbox, and one of the mistakes I've seen is they don't really have any jokes really when they're doing it. They're more like look what I can do, and they're just trying to show off how good of a beatboxer they are, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like it's better if you have some like jokes, you know what I mean, like because people are there to laugh, and you know, as opposed to like, here's my jokes, now here's how great of a beatboxer I am, or whatever, you know. Yeah. It's better when you blend it. But what do I know, man? I you know, I've been uploading videos to my YouTube channel, and then sometimes I'm just like, gosh, like I'm just sick of my stuff right now. So you know, you ever do that? You ever just get so tired of your stuff? You're like, oh, even my new stuff I'm sick of. I'm like, you know. But then I think that's just the nature of our business, you know.
Yeah. Luke, did you have a question?
I was wondering, are like have shows started to open up in your area for you? Do you have plans?
You know, I've been doing this. I've been doing the Roosevelt Hotel, the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, and we were doing them originally like a year ago. We were doing them in the theater. Like it's a beautiful place. If anyone ever gets a chance to go to the Roosevelt Hotel, it's amazing. It's a classic Hollywood, like iconic hotel with like the poolside, the bar, the whole thing. So,
wow.
And then when COVID hit, they stopped doing shows, but then they started doing them again in, I want to say like October, and we were doing them poolside. And I elected to host them because to be perfectly honest, at first it was because I was like, I don't know, I'm kind of rusty. Like I did a corporate show like every 2.5 months I would do like a corporate show, or you know, like I did a show out in the country, they called it Freedom on the Farm, and there was like, you know, 70 people or whatever. And so that, but there'd be like 2 months at a time where I wasn't doing comedy. And, you know, like, you know, people, that diet, they call it intermittent fasting. I was like, yeah, I do intermittent stand-up. No, yeah, I said, let me host, you know, that way, you know, and they have these, you know, big names. I mean, you know, Jamie Kennedy, Jeff Ross, Jeremy Piven. I mean, there's just, you know, the list goes on. So I said, you know what, let me host. That way I can just do 5 minutes at a time, you know, a couple minutes here, 10 minutes, whatever, just that kind of thing. Plus I'll get to, you know, everybody they'll have to see me because they're next. So you always watch the MC at least for like 30 seconds before you go on. And so it's actually been a really good move for me. And plus, you know, that was at first. And then as the time went by, I liked hosting because at least there, I think with a good host, the show is like even better. And I said, I'd rather, because they always ask me, do you want to do a spot? Would you like to host? I go, for this particular show, I don't mind hosting because I can set the tone. I can set the tone for the show. Like I'm not, and all, you know what I mean? Like, so you guys can appreciate this. I'm not gonna curse. I'm not gonna bring up politics. We're not gonna do anything that's mean spirited, you know, because other comedians, especially the host, because usually they put the less experienced people hosting, and sometimes they don't know any better, and they'll just be super filthy or super racial or super, you know, and it just can set the wrong tone for a show. So I said, hey, let's just have fun. I'll do it. And then even if I follow a comic that does really dirty stuff, it's even funnier when I'm up there talking about hide and seek and making it work. You know, and then I'll throw a little, you know, I'll do it for you guys. I'll throw a little Snoop Dogg in. Well, yeah, what's cracking? It's the Eagle Double G, the big Snoop Dogg. Right.
I love that. That's so, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like you could just do that. It's so crazy. That's you're amazing, man. Like, honestly, I'm not kidding. I love it. It's so amazing.
I'm also laughing because everything's so weird now. They're like, you know, like he just did Snoop Dogg. He's gonna get, you know, wow, I just canceled myself. Yeah. I'm talking about raking the leaves. No, but by the way, I performed at Snoop Dogg's family reunion 2 years in a row, which is really,
that's awesome.
It was amazing. Like his cousins saw me at the Hollywood Improv, and they loved my impression, and they asked me to do it, and then they had me back, and it was I got some cool photos with them. It's on my YouTube channel. They can see like stuff on there, but.
You should do a thing where like you and Snoop are behind curtains and then they try to see which one's the real Snoop. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you do Snoop and he does like to see who's the real Snoop, which the real Snoop is behind which curtain and stuff. That'd be so funny.
You know, I should also I got to figure out how to transfer that Snoop Dogg impression talent to TikTok. You know, because this is what's happening, right? TikTok is what's in, and you know, I don't know how I would do it, but I'll figure it out. And
we'll connect you with Luke, because Luke is like the man at getting TikTok. He got our friend David Studebaker. He got his TikTok blowing up. So
cool.
Maybe Luke can give you a little consultation there, help you out and figure it out, because you're funny and you know what you're doing. So I mean, I don't think there'll be
I just started. I think I've been putting some videos up for maybe a month now because I really resisted doing it. I was like, I don't want to start another social thing. And then plus my, you know, I have friends, like I have relatives that would be like, you know, you got this funny TikTok, and it was never funny to me. It was always just some, you know what I mean? Just some, I was like, And then I think what made me do it. See, this is what happens. You get inspired by other comedians. A buddy of mine, Flip Schultz.
Yeah,
he's like,
Flip.
Yeah, he put up a video that got 1 million views, and I'm like, whoa,
wow,
yeah, and he really, to my knowledge, he hadn't had a lot of luck with a lot of things, like not a lot of followers on Instagram, not a lot of followers on Twitter, not a lot of So this thing, you know, and by the way, what's great about Flip is every day, back to what we started the podcast with, persistence. Every day, it's like a water dripping on a rock. It's going to give, every day he's posting a stand-up clip. Every day. When I talked to him on the phone, he's like, oh yeah, I've got 101 clips ready to go. I'm like, no way. 101 clips ready to go. And he takes the time to put the captions on. So as people are on TikTok, they can read it, you know, if their volume's down. And, you know, I haven't gotten, you know, into it that far. I've mostly put up little sketches that I've, you know, I don't even know what I'm doing. I actually put up a clip where I added the captions and I put a lot of work into it and got like 9 views. I was like, this sucks. You know, I was like, but then here's what's hilarious. I might film something crazy happened on the news. I literally filmed my TV and it got like 3,000 views. I'm like, oh man, like, you know, like this is depressing, but I'm going to keep putting it up there. Why not? Right.
Yeah. Well, one more question for you, Darren, before we let you go. If you had to start stand-up again today, like in this day and age, or you were telling your son who was going to start stand-up, right? What would you tell them to do to kind of get better at stand-up, or to kind of move? I know no one's probably going to move as fast as you did because you're rarity in that parts, but starting out, what would you recommend a new comedian do, or someone who's just starting stand-up?
It's tough because, you know, like back in the day, it sounds like not even that long ago, but it was like 20 years ago, 22, whatever it was, you know, I'd be like, persistence, film yourself, listen to it, get better, which is all the things that don't go away. You do have to get better. But you know, back in the day, like I remember when I moved to LA to become a regular at the Laugh Factory, you had to stand in line on a Tuesday, then the first 20 people. So, but now I don't even know. There's probably people, like I said, they're filming with their phones and then they're viral and then they don't have to do any of that stuff. So I don't know what the answer is. I guess I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I have no idea. I literally have no idea. But be talented and let the world see your talent, I guess. And You know, what would you say? What would you guys think?
I mean, well, yeah, because I started in LA. Luke, did you start in LA too?
Yeah.
So we started in LA, which is the hardest place to start. Like nobody should really start in LA. It's crazy. I wish I would have started in Vegas or San Diego or somewhere else where I lived before. But really, I would say be a good joke writer, be willing to put in the time on stage and stuff, because there is no, I mean, you could get a shortcut, I guess, if you get on AGT or you get you get on a sitcom or whatever in LA. But outside of LA, it's really going to be all those things that you said, just getting up, doing what you're supposed to, listening to your sets, getting better. But in LA, if you started in LA, it's really a hit or miss. It's really, if you know somebody, you can get more spots. If you have a hookup, you can get on the road faster. If you do this or that, you can do it. If you have a TV show or you get a commercial or whatever, because in LA, the only thing that really matters is credits. Unfortunately, that's kind of the sad truth about LA. But anywhere else in the country, it would be okay, I think, to do.
You know what I think what yeah, to add to that, I think, I remember listening to Barry Katz, you know who that is, a big time manager,
Mm-hmm.
managed Chappelle and all these people. I remember him saying, like, basically he said, just to be really good, be undeniable, and be a problem when you whatever. And I guess that is true. I guess it is true. That's true. That's a small piece of the pie, because you can open for someone big and have a viral video, but if you don't really, I see that's I almost want to say that's not even true, because I know people that are terrible on stage, but they have these other big things, and the next thing you know, they're winning awards, getting on NBC. So I think I heard this great thing. It's negative, but it's great. It's negative. It's negative, but it's great. Stephen Pearl, look him up sometime, guys. He's a hilarious comedian. He used to be really tight with Robin Williams, and I had him on my podcast once, and he goes, life is unfair, and show business is even more unfair.
That is
and I was
true.
like, that's true, man. So, but I would say that just for the comedian, for the person themselves, definitely work hard, like to be the best comedian that you could possibly be. Like, take out the extra words, take out the foul language, in my opinion. That way you'll always work. You can be, my buddy, he works clean, make it throw a little whatever. He could throw a little dirty words here and there, but he works clean. So they think of him for jobs. They go, hey, there's a shrimp festival in Louisiana. Boom, he did it. Hey, there's a corporate gig. He did it. I did a Christmas party before COVID hit, and they paid me a great money. And then they go, hey, you want an extra $1,000 to stick around and do like this little game show thing? I said, yes. Now, I wouldn't have gotten that gig if I was super filthy, I don't think. But then, I know I'm contradicting myself, because then there's people that are really dirty and they're making way more money. But I'm just saying, my advice coming from me, I say, if you try to work on the cleaner side, if you can. I would recommend that, because you're going to be able to make money and get more opportunities. And also do what you guys are doing, do what we're doing, like, have a podcast, have something people can be a fan of, because otherwise, like you said, there's hundreds, thousands, they're out there competing. They don't know who you are, how you are, what you've done, and just got to keep banging those pots and pans, man, week after week. Just do something, find something you like. That way you're not going into it going, oh man, we gotta do another podcast. No, you want to do it where you're like excited, like 6:30 today, whatever. You want to be. That's the way I feel.
I love that.
I guess, right?
That's exactly what I was. I mean, that's what you have to do. It's perseverance.
I've heard. I'm gonna close this blinds. I've heard that. I've heard the opposite. I've heard that. I've heard, like, I think Joe Rogan was like, you don't need to be clean anymore. Like in the 80s, they were like, everyone's trying to be clean to get on the Tonight Show, and here's my 5 minutes, coming to the stage, which is true. You don't have to be clean anymore, because there is the internet, and you could be. There's people making millions of dollars, But I also think that when people hear that you don't have to be clean, and they also think like, oh man, I'm just gonna. This is great. I can, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? They're cursing a lot. They're
trying to do all 7 dirty words you can't say on TV right, at one time.
Yeah. This is like, I feel like I'm being punked. You guys are like, and that was Darren Carter. This is like there's no such thing as a clean comedy podcast. Like, every week we have some loser on. We ask him what's the secret. Well, I know you got to be cleaning beatbox. Talk about yard work.
I swear to you, we're not punking you. You're one of my favorite people. So I would never do that to you ever in a million years.
That's hilarious. You go to like look up any comedian and you look at their first album and be like, I really like that 7th track, man. They're like, real fan. I mean, yeah, because what was the joke again? It was like it was a gangster rap taking over nursery songs, right?
Yeah,
it was like
but the first
Jimmy
one,
Crack Corn.
Yeah, the first one was about.
I know it was like I go rockabye biatch.
Yeah,
I did that one. I did one like Jimmy popped a cap in your ass or something like that. Or
now Darren ruined all of it because he's gonna start saying bad stuff now.
Yeah. Well, I told you it was from my early album.
It was your album. But it's the it talks about popping the cap. Oh man, now I'm gonna play it because I love that bit. Although now I go, yeah,
it was like Jimmy popped a. It was like Jimmy Crack Corn, and I don't care, but it was like
crack. Oh, it's crack whore, but yeah. I don't want to.
It was no, it wasn't that, was it? It was I know I did something about gangs in Nebraska and a corn cob crack pipe.
This whole part is going to be edited now.
I know, right? Yeah.
All right, let's see where's it. Yeah, I have it.
Cool.
See, can you guys hear that?
Yeah, put the thing up to the mic. Yeah.
That's what it was. If you're happy, Papa Cat. That was my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Watch Darren start doing this one again, doing this bit. I would love it. Yeah. So that's not clean, people. I'm sorry. I'll edit it out. I'll make sure we get that edited out. But that's the thing is like you had stuff that like people can associate. They already know the regular song, and now you did that. Yeah. That's what made me love that part, right? So
thank you.
It's really one of those things where I was like, man, there's so many levels to what you do because that's parody, that's impressions, that's you're doing a story, you're doing the entire like there's so many layers to that joke. That's why that's one of the ones that stuck in my head, because you do the radio DJ thing, you do some of the impersonations, you do a song that everyone knows, the parody version of that, you bring it in there, you tie the whole story. It's like, wow, that's and there's not a lot of people that can do that, honestly. I mean, I was a big Chris Rock fan as a kid. I still love Chris Rock, but even he couldn't do all of that together. Like there's no way he's going to be able to break a parody piece into that and then do the voice and whatever, because that's not what he does. But the fact that you could do all that is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I need to have some more of those big bits. You know what I mean? Because I have had this is my Gangland bit, or my bit about, because there was a TV show Gangland.
Yeah.
And I both characters. I'd be like, Gangland, tell us about your day. And I go, the guy and he'd be like, and I'd hide under my t-shirt. I go, we're not scared of nothing. We run the streets. What street do you run? The one by the closed down mall. and so it would I dropped my earbud. But yeah, so I would go back and forth with the voices. Like one voice, and that's what, and then back and forth, and it was super fun. And I think now my big bit that I do, because every I always try to have like one big I think now it's probably where I talk about with my wife, like have you ever seen me do the calm down bit where she turns into a monster or whatever? Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't seen that one.
That's a good one, right? I basically, people love that one. It's very relatable. I've had police come up to me and go, we want you to do our police convention, because that's one thing we tell. Like, you never want to tell people to calm down, because it makes them not want to calm down. So
that's my mother-in-law. I can't tell my mother-in-law to calm down. She'll freak out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like I go, there's two words you never want to say. I go, you never want to say, and I go, say it with me. You never want to say calm, and the crowd goes down. And so I act it out, and I act like I'm in slow motion and everything. Like let me see. I stand up. She's like, she's like slow motion. I'm doing like the moving, and I do the cracking thing, and I did earlier from the hide and seek bit. I do where she's like. She's turning and she's like, "What did you tell me, Darren? What did you?" And then the big closer at the end is I have the flashlight and I put it underneath and I have it strobe, so it's going strobing underneath, and the crowd at that time they're like, "Yeah, it's so crazy." And then I didn't say calm down. I said come down, come down, come on down. I'm the contestant on the Right is Right. So
next time you're around and I can see that bit, I'm gonna come so I can watch that, because I would love to see that.
Those are fun bits to do. They're fun to perform. It's interesting because like today, you asked me how I write. Another way that I write sometimes is I'll just sort of tweet out like a little premise or a little funny thing, and those are more like a germ of an idea, like the seed. It's not really the bit. Like some people, they're one and done. Like they're like great writers, like Stephen Wright. It's like he'll tweet or whoever, like the perfect joke. I'm not like that. Mine is more like today. This was I'm up at the farm and it rained. I was actually uploading a new episode of the podcast, and so I was at Starbucks using the public Wi-Fi because out here in the boonies we don't get good connection. We're uploading, so I'm uploading the podcast. It's pouring down rain, and I'm like, wow, I really want to order this pizza. There's a pizza parlor over there. So I called, I got the pizza going, and they're like, yeah, it'll be 25 minutes. I'm like, no problem. So, sure enough, the thing's uploaded. I drive over, I'm parked, I'm waiting for another 5 minutes. And then just like that, like the stopped raining and then the clouds went away. And then it was like sunny. I'm like, damn it, I should have ordered a salad. Like, what am I doing? Like, like I thought it was gonna be all cozy and cold and I'll have a warm cheese pizza. No.
I should have ordered a salad. Like, now you see the sun and you think that's so funny.
Yeah, I'm like, gosh, now I can, that's why actually initially I asked you because I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought, because what I try to do is, after my son's done going his, Zoom school and everything, we usually like ride bikes and go for walks and do a lot of outdoor stuff. But it was raining, so I'm like, no, 6:30 is perfect, and I can keep it going. Like if it was sunny, I probably would be doing this podcast because I've done this before. I'll do it from like the back of the field. Like there's like a bunch of hay and stuff back there, and I usually bring the thing, and it's kind of cool. It's like I wonder if it's too dark though. Yeah, now it'd be all weird. It'd be like dark. So it'd be like,
Darren Carter's horror podcast.
I don't want to be in the back of a farm like when it's dark. It just sounds super creepy and scary. That's another thing I thought of. I don't know if this is funny. I gotta try this out, but like I thought there's something about hearing like late at night outside your window. If you were to hear like gentle rain and like a saxophone, it sounds like very romantic. But you change that instrument to a banjo, and now it's terrorizing.
That's good. No, that's true. I think I'd be creeped out if somebody's playing a saxophone outside my window, though. Either way, Kenny G's out there like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "No, thanks, man. Next house. I think you want the next house, buddy."
Exactly. Yeah. Or what do you think would be creepier outside of your window, a banjo or harmonica?
A harmonica.
Oh, maybe I should put that in there. Yeah. What about like it's 3 a.m. and outside your window you hear a beatboxer?
I'm gonna look outside and be like, is that guy on speed? What's going on out there? Yeah. Michael Winslow, is that you?
Yeah. I'm out there running bits. Hey folks, how you doing? I'm Darren Carter.
You know what I thought about? You know what I thought about doing? Honestly, this is a real thing. I have like a rolling speaker box, and I have like a microphone. I thought about just walking my neighborhood and stopping in front of houses and doing jokes like during all this stuff. But I was like, some people will not be nice to you. They'll just like, get off of my lawn. Yeah. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to do that,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People can, and plus, what's sad is like, unfortunately, with our art form, if it's not done in the right way, it's very easy to like. Because I'm telling you, like, I could do my comedy, and it might not go well, but somebody could tell some really good street jokes and do way better than me. You know what I mean? Like, in that environment, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you had somebody who told really good street jokes and they had a microphone and they were just going from house to house, it would probably do better than like stand up, you know? Because I've done that one time. Yeah.
You know
I was
what's
gonna say
interesting?
that one time.
Go ahead.
One time, this lady saw me at the Coach House, this theater, like rock and roll comedy, like it's a rock and roll club all over Southern California, and she's like, "You're so good." She's like, "I'd love you to perform at Leisure World. It's like a senior citizen place." I'm like, "Sure," but see, the audience she saw me at was a comedy audience. You know, the audience was in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Probably a few of them were in their 60s, but her facility, most of the people were 70 and above, and she actually opened the show from behind a podium and told a bunch of jokes she got off the internet. She did great. She crushed. She's like, "It was so hot today," and the crowd was like, "How hot was it?" You know, "I saw a dog chasing a cat, and they were both walking." You know, but it was destroying. "I got on the scale, and you know what the scale said?" Whatever, blah blah blah. And then so I go up there and I'm like, you know, and they weren't into it, man. They were not into it. I'm talking about motorcycles and my son, and yeah, it was very difficult because the crowd was a lot older, and it was just like, you know, like they kind of wanted that traditional 3 guys walk into a bar, the first guy, the second guy, and the third guy.
They want this guy. They want the old Milton Berle like jokes and stuff. I have this. I have like both. There's like another copy of this that's on its way. But I go through these and I read these because I think these are old comedian jokes, the Catskills comedians, and these guys would all share jokes, like the Milton Berles and all those guys would all tell the same jokes, and they'd go up to each other like, "Are you doing this joke tonight? Because I want to do that joke tonight." And they like would switch. It was crazy, and you know, that's
you know what you know what I found out recently is that Abbott and Costello were not the first guys to do Who's on First.
Yeah, no.
Like that was just an old vaudeville type joke, but they're the first one that made it big with it. Yeah. But you know, I thought that was interesting. By the way, does that book have a is it called like a bibliography? No. At the back of it, is there a file? Can we look up a word and see if there's any jokes about certain things?
Oh yeah. It's actually in the front of it. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, pick a word. Tell me a word.
I love boxing. See if there's any boxing jokes.
Boxing.
I bet you they're really good.
Boxers. Yep. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's find one. Yeah. We're gonna do one of these terrible jokes. You know what? We should open up every episode doing a terrible joke off of something. Let me tell us a word. All right. Here goes. You said you could beat him hands down. He doesn't want to keep his hands down. One fighter ruined his hands in the ring. The referee kept walking on him. Let's see. Where's what else? He was a colorful fighter, black and blue and blood. Like these are.
Oh wow, that's good.
Let's see. Oh,
there's a colorful.
There's a what?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, there's some of them. It's like, you know. Let's see. He fought like a baseball pitcher. At the end of a fight, he had a no-hitter. You know, like so. Just like
that's good.
That's good.
I'm gonna tell that joke in the boxing gym next time I
go. This is good. I bought this at like a library. Like I saw this out, and I write jokes and I write stuff for TV and I write different things. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know anything about this topic that they're asking. So I'll go and read a bunch of these. I have a couple other joke books too, and I'll go read through them, and then I'll be like, okay, now I kind of got the gist of it, and I'll write a new joke and stuff out. You know, but yeah, that's how I do it.
You know, I saw that when you said the boxing stuff, it reminds me. Sometimes I'll look at old like boxing interviews, and sometimes the very descriptive, colorful language is hilarious. It's not even meant to be a joke. It's just the way that they spoke. They described. I don't even know who said it. It might have been this guy named Bert something. He was a radio announcer. He was like Howard Cosell, but not. I forget his name. Anyways. He described one of the fighters. He goes, his punches are like throwing snowballs against a battleship. You know, that's pretty good. Because you could picture snowballs battleship like it ain't doing nothing, you know.
Yeah,
but
that's hilarious.
Yeah, well, I knew there'd be some boxing.
Yeah, there is. There's two. There's this one, and then there's a second version of this book, like that has like 10,000 more jokes or whatever. I buy joke books all the time because I like to read old jokes and stuff and just kind of like, well, if I'm like in a creative funk and I don't know what I'm gonna write, or like, no, I'll go read a bunch of jokes, and then I'll like, oh, that's smart. Maybe they should have wrote this instead, and I'll like write a new joke or whatever
That's
based on
good.
that. So.
And let me ask you a couple questions. So are you living in LA?
Yes, yeah, I live outside LA, like Ventura County, LA County line.
Oh, that's good. That way, there's probably is there like more stage time and stuff up there?
No, like the closest club to me, I would either have to go to like Haha or something, or I would have to drive down to Ventura and go to like Ventura Harbor. That's like the next biggest club out there. Because Levity doesn't use like local comedians. They only have like big names and stuff like that, which is kind of
What's
sad.
the word with Levity? Do you think is it going to stay open? Have you heard anything, or do you even know? I
No, I don't know. Have you ever performed there or been there?
mean, yes, yeah.
I have beef with that club because of one thing. I like the setup. I think everything's great from the comedian side, but from the audience side, they have the tables that go straight, so you're sitting sideways and then trying to look at the stage. I don't like that. That's the part of the club that I don't like. If they fix that, or if they use small tables instead, I would 100% love that club. But the fact that they have these long tables that you sit on each side from, it annoys me because I don't like turning my head and having to look up at the stage the whole time.
And what about your partner? Where do you live? Does he live in LA?
I live in Seal Beach, so like
Seal Beach, yeah. I think Ian Bagg lives down there somewhere. A comedian named Ian Bagg.
Ian Bagg lives down there?
He lives in Long Beach, and I think he might be living in Seal Beach. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Like, I performed in Seal Beach, not July 4th, but July 3rd. Like, I did a show outside, like on the beach, a couple years ago. It was weird though. It was like they had a cop. They had like the police drone like above us and stuff to kind of like look down on the people, and it was interesting. That was kind of a tough gig. Because I mean, you know what? It's the only time I've ever performed wearing sunglasses because it was so bright in your face. And I don't know if there was a connection with the people because of the sunglasses, but I realized like I could see why people wear sunglasses on stage, because you can, it feels like you're not really there because you got these sunglasses on. Like you're hiding behind a mask or something.
Yeah. I hope that's not the case for stand up in the future. I hope I don't have to wear a mask on stage. But Darren, where can people?
By the way, you asked.
Go ahead.
I went. I performed in Phoenix. It was great. It was indoors. There were people there. And then I went to Texas. Same thing. It was like, people are laughing. They're emotional afterwards, or like that changed my life, because I think it wasn't necessarily me. It was the whole comedy experience, because they've been locked in, shut down, scary stuff, news, blah blah blah. So to go out and laugh and see, everyone laughing, all different ethnicities, and just having a time of their life, it was beautiful, man. It is like almost like a religious experience, Laughter is the best medicine. Where can people see me? Go to my YouTube channel. Do me a favor, guys. Subscribe and say, hey, I heard you on the Clean Comedy Podcast. Let me know. My podcast is called Pocket Party, Darren Carter Pocket Party Podcast. And that's it, man. YouTube, podcast, Instagram, it's official Darren Carter. I'm out there. And if there's something that they like, I'm probably out there on it on some capacity. TikTok, all that stuff.
Yeah, and go download all of Darren's albums. He has 4 albums. They're amazing. One of them's from a Showtime special, that Ginger's Crazy. So like literally it's like some of the funniest stuff you'll ever watch. I like, you did a lot for me when I was learning comedy and growing up and kind of going through comedy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then seeing you on stage was great. And then running into you at Flappers was awesome. And so I've always, one of the most positive people I've ever met. So I love it. I appreciate you spending your time hanging out with us.
My new album is called The Party Continues. What I was going to tell you guys.
Wait, when does that come out?
Oh, that one's out. It's out. It's out. It's called The Party Continues. I have Shady Side, That Ginger's Crazy. Stay-at-home stripper, which is stupid. I probably shouldn't have called it that, because I kept hearing stay-at-home dad. I was like, oh, here's a funny word. But the new one's called The Party Continues.
Oh, I do see it. I just downloaded it right now. Awesome.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you. And what I'm going to say is to be on the positive tip that you were talking about. I'm going to show you something. If your audience is interested in losing weight and that kind of thing, the thing that's helped me stay in shape and keep my eyes on the prize, is I have a little notepad and I write down the date and the day, and I circle, if you see it, and I do 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups a day. And if I miss a day, I'll put a little X. And I tell myself, I don't want to see 3 X's in a row. This isn't bowling. So as you can see, like March, March, I was out of town, so I was back in LA, so I didn't have this on me. But starting in March, I always write down, and I think there's just something about having something where you're held accountable, you're held responsible. When I see this on the nightstand, and I'm like, you know what, I got to do my 50. So I start the day out with the jumping jacks, and then I at some point during the day, I make sure I do my 25 push-ups, get a drink of water, 25 more. You just want to be healthy, and you want to feel good about yourself. And it's those little change. Maybe 50s, maybe it's not enough. Maybe the person who's watching this needs to do 100, or maybe it's too much. You know, whatever it is. Here's the thing I found. The best thing I can tell you, James, it's all in your mind, man. Even if you make it 10, if a person told themselves every day or almost every day, I'm going to do 10 push-ups and just 10 sit-ups, you'd find that the hardest part is just starting for the day. It's only 10, but just being like, all right, let me do it. And next thing you know, next month you'll bump it up to 20 and then 30, and you'll feel good about yourself. And you're because I found that whenever I talk about mental health, whenever I would get myself like a little bit depressed or the blues, it was probably about 5 years ago before I started like really upping my exercise. And I think a lot of that came from, I would go to like the fitting room and I'd try on clothes and nothing really fit right, nothing looked good. And I kept pulling my shirt up, my stomach was poking out, and my shoulders were looking all like that weird, you know what I mean? When the shoulders look weird, and I was losing my hair, and I was looking like, I hated the whole thing. I hated looking in that mirror going, gosh, I don't like it. So I literally started, I need to like do some push-ups, and also being a dad, I want to be a good example,
That's all. Does your son? No, I won't. Does your son do the 50 push-ups and sit-ups with you as well? Like, do you have him come do it with you or no?
We do other things. It's hard to get him to do that, but he does do that because when normal times, he does taekwondo, and then in school he does do he's in PE, so he does do the exercises. But he every day when it's not raining, we're like always like riding bikes. He's walking out there doing 5 miles out there with my wife. Like he's definitely. Yeah, he's tall, he's strong. And the kid, let me tell you something. I know every parent loves to brag, but this kid, this is great. This is great for your show if you have family. So March 14th, it's called Pi Day, PI Day, 3.14 Pi Day. So in his school last year, they said, if you can memorize, because it goes to infinity, they said, if you can memorize 20 digits of pi, then you get to throw a pie in the teacher's face, right? so that day he memorized like 50. Like I swear to you, he memorized 50. Like it was easy for him, and he just kept working at it and determined. He ended up memorizing 400 digits of pi. 400, like wow. 3. And here's you can do 10. 3.14159265535. I think it's 10. I'm not sure, but it goes on and on and on. If you go to my YouTube channel and you search it, it's on there. If you go to his, it's his channel, it's Oz the Bass Boss. It's linked on all of. Just look him up. It's Oz the Bass Boss. He plays 5 different instruments. He memorizes pi. He's a character, and he's so determined. So yeah, I'm not worried about him going something like this. He's kind of like beyond this. Like he's I mean, I was literally getting just like a normal dad. You might be upset. Like when we were raking leaves, we're like, come on, you get more serious about it. And I thought, who cares if he doesn't rake leaves right? I mean, he can memorize 400 digits of pi.
That's awesome.
Yelling at Albert Einstein, come on, dude, learn how to like sleep.
Yeah. That's awesome. Luke, where can everybody find you at?
Luke LaCoy on the socials and all that good stuff.
Awesome. So you go ahead and check me out, jamesdcreviston.com or comedypreneur.com. Please like, subscribe. Please. Now, I don't know if you guys are listening to this. We changed who we are uploading to. We had Libsyn before. Now we have Spreaker. So now there are ads in the that are put in by Spreaker for the show. So please listen to those ads. It helps support the show. Like I said, I always say this. I don't want to charge anybody to listen to the show. I don't want to have to, raise any funds. So if you guys will just listen to the ads, I know they're annoying. I know sometimes you can hate them. But please listen to them. It brings in money for the show. And then what's going to do, the goal of that is with all that stuff is we're going to create more and more content and stuff. And I want to be able to do some things different in the future. So that's the goal. So if you guys can help us keep listening to the podcast after this is over and you hear the outro music, there's 2 more commercials usually. If you could just listen to those, that'd be great as well. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Darren, for being on. Thank you, Luke, for being my co-host. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.